The international community questioned Emmanuel Macron and Ursula von der Leyen's move to meet Xi Jinping in China. Well, this action seems like an unpredictable move done by the EU and also France.
Besides speaking about economic cooperation and the war situation in Ukraine, one of the most heard reasons of this meeting is about how China started its move to influence another country to quote-unquote leave the United States.
All right, let's dig more into this, and to know more about the issue, joining us right here in the studio, Teuku Rezasyah, PhD and International Relations Scholar from Universitas Padjadjaran. Let's say hi again to you, sir. Thank you for coming.
Hello, I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Pak Reza, thank
Yes.
you. Good to have you back here.
Yes.
And we will
I'm
have
always
a lot
honored. Thank you.
The
of
honor is
discussion about this, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
So very interesting. We see how France, especially from Macron, he made a statement, and
Yes.
apparently for the politicians of France and also diplomats, they tried to digest this. What does it mean? Perhaps all the remarks, some of the remarks have been repetitive, but the timing is very critical. So please give us the context right now, the relations between EU, China, especially, and France.
Firstly, the timing. The timing is extraordinary when the world's attention is focusing on Ukraine and also Taiwan, and also the Chinese might towards Chinese steps towards a superpower status. They met in
Beijing.
in Beijing at the house of the governor of Guangdong, yeah, on the 7th of April. Surprisingly, China always considered itself the center of the world. Yeah? And in the past, part of China was colonized by European countries. Now they are coming to China. China is the second biggest economy, accepting France, number 7 biggest economy. And this is interesting. We can imagine when two great economies meeting, and also EU is there, even though in the Reuters picture we didn't see the president of the EU Commission. I don't know why she was not there. But for China, this is the meeting itself is symbolic. Yeah? It shows recognition from France. France is a great power in the world, and France is leading the Francophone countries, about around 70 million population. And then symbolically, this visit shows recognition that China is the world leader, and also shows that there is what we call, there is a freak inside the Western bloc. Because as we know, when we talk about European Union or NATO or European countries in Europe, there are always three powers there: UK, France, and Germany. And nowadays, France gives an impression that France is more logical. France has a capacity to act independently, unlike its fellow European countries. And for China, this is a prestigious moment, because earlier on, China had managed to bridge Saudi Arabia and Iran, two countries known to represent Shi'i and Sunni, and now now the two countries are becoming closer under the Chinese brokerage, Chinese guidance or Chinese advice. We do not know, but things the combination of the meeting in China and also the last discussion between involving friends between Iran and Saudi Arabia shows that China is the peacemaker, and the world should rely on China for peace, progress, and development. And we are waiting to see how the US will react.
Exactly. That was probably the biggest question. Yes. Is it going to be harder on accepting what would be the reaction of US, or how would other European countries would react on Macron's statement? What do you think?
Well, some European countries, especially the newcomers in the EU, they find that France, you have disregarded us. And you visited China not in EU capacity. You are acting there on your own, and you are thinking more on your economic needs, and then France was considered also siding away from the U.S. security leadership, because for some European countries they have been living so comfortably under the U.S. security guarantee, U.S. security assistance, U.S. economic aid, and now France tend to sideline by the time European countries needs unity in dealing with the Ukraine issue. So this is another bonus for Xi Jinping.
Right.
Xi Jinping has successfully made European solidarity collapse.
Yeah.
Right. So, Parisa, let's put on more observation on China.
Yes.
We know that China has delivered their foreign policy.
Oh, yes.
Earlier this month, yeah? And then after that, we are witnessing the, like, let's say, the political movement of China. For example, Xi Jinping went to Russia, and then EU and France came to China,
Yes.
and then Iran and Saudi Arabia is entering the new bilateral relation between two countries. And then the last two is President of Brazil, Fernando Lula da Silva,
Visiting China.
is visiting China right now. And then we've just delivered the news that China put the new ambassador to North Korea. It's like a lot of movement that they're
Different
doing right now.
constellation.
And it's like a surprise things in the new pace.
Well, it shows here China has made itself the true superpower. Even though they never declare that we are the superpower or we have reached a superpower status, but the world has begun to aware that in order to maintain global peace in various parts of the world, and then how to bridge differences between countries, China is needed. And China has proven itself. It has a capacity to mix capitalist system and then Marxist system, socialist systems in one package, and they managed to do it. And China has become one of the biggest donor when it comes to the development, especially in the area of infrastructure. So the world awares at the moment that willingly or not, China has to be there, and China has to be there, and then they will listen to China. So this is something new for the U.S. because by the time the U.S. economy is slowing down, China is growing up. Even tested during crisis, China's economy remained sustainable. And this is the story. If we witness your case studies, the role of China is there in Ukraine, in East Asia, and also in Brazil. Okay, Brazil is part of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But in these BRICS, the role of China is undisputable. So that's why when we talk about global peace, global security, and how to end conflicts, the world has to listen to China.
Right. So from your explanation, we can see like when we map it, the political movement of China, China is doing on Middle East, on Europe, on
East Asia.
Latin America, and East Asia at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
And China has the capacity to do it, because they have about 1.3 billion people, and then they have shown their capacity to develop. Only the country came to the surface in 1948, but the modernization itself happened in early 1980s when they joined the WTO.
Right.
And then now the world has begun to see China is there, the might of China is there, and then the modern cities where they can find easily in Europe can also be found in China. So China has proven itself, and in this case, the world witness, seeing is believing.
Seeing is believing. Is there any special term in international relation term talking about the current present in political ways of China? You mentioned about the term
the
of Pax Sinica?
Pax Sinica, yes. People begins to see Pax Sinica,
What is that actually?
Meaning that that China is the stabilizer of the world. That China has the first is primus inter pares among states. Even though there are different kind of countries with the same calibers, but China is one degree ahead. So this is my rough interpretation of
Right.
Pax Sinica. In the past, we have been very familiar with the Pax Americana, yeah, where the U.S. led through North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and then heaps of alliances in Asia Pacific called Australia, New Zealand, United States. But today, China is there, and the world has begun to listen.
Wow. So China is at the very towering
Oh yes.
position right now. But as we see now how the move from one of the European countries, let's say the France, saying that European countries need to be less dependent to the United States. So are we going to see the political stage or geopolitical stage in the future would be slightly different, rather than only having China and the US, but now having EU?
The
also
world has become multipolar at the moment. Yeah. In the past, we experienced a bipolar situation. The US is here leading the Western Bloc, and the Soviet Union is there leading the Eastern Bloc. Now the situation is China is there. And if we see the statement issued by the White House, they always show Russia and China as the culprit. And China has made itself not only credible, but the world is depending on China's economy. For example, if we see why Macron is visiting France, is visiting China, because Macron found that in year 2022, the bilateral trade involving France and China were valued at $81.33 billion US, and it was 4.4% lower than the earlier year.
Right.
And then France also believed that they need to utilize the opening market of China, and also France also witnessed the buying capacity of the Chinese, yeah? And then also the engine of growth is happening not only in this capital city of China, but in various provinces at the same time. And France wanted to contribute through selling parts of its automobiles shares to Chinese companies. Or by doing this, for example, Renault managed to sell around 120,000 electric cars annually in China. And also from there exported to other parts of the world. So it shows that Macron's visit was politically motivated and also economically motivated, because France wanted to have a big slice in the China's economic growth, especially in the area of infrastructure and automobile. And in this case, France has witnessed that while in the past, France's involvement in Africa happened through conflicts, but China entered Africa through peace messages, infrastructure, trade, and aid. And in this case, I think France wanted to have a slice in Chinese economic growth. Yes.
So, Pak Reza, talking about maybe not just political movement, but let's say the economical political movement from China with the BRI or Belt Road Initiative.
Yes.
You've mentioned that maybe to Africa it's come with the result of infrastructures things in Africa, and we are witnessing as well the officially launch of a bullet train between China and Laos.
Yes.
And how about with France and European Union? Is it going with the I don't think that it will go with the infrastructure things. Maybe with other project or package of Belt and Road Initiative. What is your observation on it?
We have to acknowledge the fact that China has reached a significant level of success here when it comes to Belt and Road. Yeah. In this case, we are dealing with land route and also sea route. Yeah. And with regard to the speed train, we have to acknowledge the fact that the Chinese, they learn from France. In this case, the French TGV.
TGV, right.
It's among the best in the world. And I think in some proportion of the Chinese industry, a huge number of French patent is there. And this is unknown to the public. I also do not have the exact figure. But if I see the history of the Chinese bullet train, French engineers were there. And I'm sure they brought with them the patent stem under France or under the EU countries.
All right. So it's always very interesting to see how this will take its trajectory, especially now, as you mentioned, China is marking again to show to the world that it has its own supremacy and it's actually staggers out all of other countries and all of the other powers in this universe. So thank you so much, Pak Rezasyah, for coming and enlightening us once again.
Oh, thank you.
Always
I'm
very
honored.
interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully we will have some other time for talking about this, because this is a kind of running issue that we will put an eye on this topic, because we believe that there will be another movement.
Yeah,
or
actually
talking
still
about balance of power or hegemony, there will be some other movement maybe from the United States responding to this.
Clearly you have a lot of question list in there
Right.
already still. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're going for a break, apparently.
Yes, and after the break, it's time for Karina Basrevan, who will deliver you some economics and business updates. So please stay with us only on the Triawani Show, only on See Today.